Hey, what's up, John Samuel? And welcome to All Access Live. Today we have a very special guest. We have my friend and CEO of Lighthouse Central Florida, Kyle Johnson. So what's up, Kyle? How are you?
Hey Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
Good, good, good. A lot of people may not know, but Kyle is actually one of the people who actually helped me get into the digital accessibility space. And so that's why I'm really excited to have you, because not only are you the CEO of Lighthouse Central Florida, but also Lighthouse Works. And, you've grown it from, you know, a good sized company to a really significant growth over the last couple of years. So I'm excited to kind of just dig in and get people to know a little bit more about you and kind of, how did you get into this field of supporting the blind community? So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Well, I was excited this morning knowing that I was going to get to visit with you and partner with you and Abler. I mean, I think we've got a pretty good track record of collaborating and really having fun while we do it. So this was just for me another opportunity to do that.
yeah.
I love what you're doing in the space.
No, I appreciate this. I mean, like I said, y'all got us our start, and y'all really kind of, you helped us do our very first digital accessibility project. But your team, and you knew that how critical digital accessibility was to creating employment for people who are blind. But for those who don't know what Lighthouse, Orlando, oh my gosh, I've been saying San Francisco, Lighthouse Central Florida, what y'all do. Can you explain what Lighthouse Central Florida is and kind of what y'all do down there?
Sure, sure. So for we on the vision rehabilitation side, Lighthouse Central Florida has been the only provider of vision specific rehabilitation training and education and advocacy and all the things that you would anticipate in that in that ecosystem since 1976. So Central Floridians, if they're born visually impaired or blind or come so at any age along life's journey, we're it, and so we had been doing that for a year longer than I've been alive. And the mission there is really charting a course for living, learning, and earning with vision loss. And the organization, 12 years ago or so, started having conversations around two real specific challenges. One is the earning piece. I mean,
Yeah.
we are not alone here in Central Florida. You've got a national statistic that's not changed in a very long time of 7 out of 10, capable Americans who are visually impaired or blind being out of the workforce completely. Many of whom that I've spoken to, they quit trying. They'd run right through a phone interview and have a lot of success, and then unfortunately show up with their white cane or a guide dog, and unbeknownst to them, that's the signal to people who don't understand our space
Yeah.
that you're not capable of anything, and that's an error that's worthy of correcting. And so it was really to put a dent in that statistic as much as we can on that unemployment rate, and then also generate redeployable revenue, that we can use to fund those services in our community. We are very fortunate to have a lot of donors and corporate friends and foundations, but we like the idea of standing shoulder to shoulder with our donor community and paying for some of this ourselves.
Yeah.
So we created 10 years ago off the ground Lighthouse Works, and Lighthouse Works is our subsidiary nonprofit company that's a social enterprise company designed to achieve a double bottom line: create competitive careers for people who are blind. And I've got hundreds of blind colleagues, and they are no different than I am as far as our employee status. Have access to upward mobility benefits, you name it, and they work somewhere where they're treated as equals, because as you and I know,
Yeah.
they are, and then we generate that profit or net redeployable revenue that we can use to help fund services at Lighthouse Central Florida, because our largest customer is the state of Florida on the vision rehabilitation side.
Yep.
And 60% of your revenues, being centralized to one customer is a problem. I don't care
Yes.
what widget or you're selling. So it's really a diversification play on the revenue side.
Yeah.
So it's a dual a dual mission. We have a contact center, which is our biggest business line that we have. We also are in the supply chain space, sourcing, fulfillment, assembly, kitting, things like that. And then digital accessibility solutions and contract management services. I'd tell you more about CMS, but it's a good substitute for Ambien. I think your viewers will appreciate me not going too deep in that one.
But it's so funny because you do talk about the living and earning, and I mean, there's some pieces of that just really kind of resonate with me. You talk about the interview component of the phone interviews, and then when the person shows up not getting the job, and that hits so close to home. But you actually joined the Lighthouse through the board, right? Or you were working on you were in finance before, weren't you?
Well, definitely don't spread a rumor that Kyle Johnson's a finance guy. I was in the finance industry for sure. I was a communications manager at a boutique wealth management firm.
Okay.
That was, we had a few offices in Florida, based in Orlando. Yeah, and we did a seminar for nonprofit leaders that showed them investment strategies that donors use because these strategies are powerful, but they incorporate giving money away. Yeah. And so we invited a lot of our, CEOs and executive directors from the nonprofit sector. And I didn't know a thing about the nonprofit sector, certainly nothing about blindness or vision impairment or accessibility or any of that. But I ended up, forming a friendship with the previous CEO, Lee Nasahi. And if she's not been on here,
I know we have to get Lee on.
So she's one of the Yodas in the field. And then I was at a cocktail reception, and people who know Lee will not be surprised to hear that I was voluntold that I was going to help start a young executives committee. And so I did volunteer for a year, 2012, sometime into 2013. Yeah. And at the same time, though, and John, you and I have talked about this, I had a lot of great things going on in my life, blessed in a lot of ways, but except for my vocation and knowing how to apply my life in a meaningful way. And in September of 2013, I just reached out to the head of fundraising at Lighthouse Central Florida and said, "Hey, I'm looking here. Here are some bullet points of what I'm good at. You're in the community all the time. Would you mind letting me know if you hear anything?" And it turned out she was going on maternity leave and didn't want to be a director when she got back, had director level responsibilities, and thought I might be a good fit. And luckily, Lee Nasi, he rolled the dice and let me join the team as the director of fund development communications. That was 2013. So, and yes, it was a career change, a pretty big one, going from the wealth advising field of work to nonprofits and working with visually impaired and blind initiatives. And I never met a person that I knew was visually impaired or blind up to that point. But a lot of people, like, I'm a nerd, a passionate nerd about this stuff, and it's easy to say that it definitely gave me my life, but it probably saved my life, the way direction I was going in. I just didn't know at the time that the outcomes I generate have to matter to me, and shareholder value is awfully important, but it doesn't excite me. But the improvement and the empowerment of human lives, like that's I get paid to do it. Okay, I mean, I'd want to do it regardless once I discovered the path.
I mean, it's so interesting you talk about how joining the Lighthouse changed your life, because that's what my co-founder Mike Ainelli, he says the same thing, right? He says he needed this. He was at a point in his life where this was something he needed. Being from the chasing on the traditional agency side of marketing and chasing money that way, to really finding a mission that he could really get behind. And so there's a lot of people out there who like you said, have never met a person who's blind or have spent time with the disability community. So like, what were like a couple of things that kind of just surprised you as you were transitioning into this kind of getting into the space of engaging with people on a everyday basis?
Yeah, good question. Well, one thing I'll say right off the bat is if you would have asked me what a person who is blind is capable of in 2012, early
Yeah.
2012, I would have given you a breathtakingly stupid answer.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what you don't know. And then what really turned me on about the field of work was the measurable outcomes, the measurable outcomes that you can create, not doing good because it feels good, and it does feel good. And I think that's a great reason. If that's your only reason, more power to you. But because, lifting other people up, protecting, rescuing, fighting on behalf or for, people who are at some sort of disadvantage is a great honor. So that I'd say, and seeing what is possible,
Yeah.
and not only what's possible, but what's happening all the time. And luckily through my experience throughout the National Industries for the Blind Network, really being exposed to really cool people and cool things that are happening. So that was big, but it was, I'm kind of quick to put my fist in the air and be like, to revolt and to push hard. And I just found in the community of people that I formed friendships with, or my colleagues who are blind or visually impaired, just blown away by the big spirit carried by so many of them, the determination, that inherent empathy, which ends up being a really powerful differentiator in our call center business, for one. But just the ambition and the big fire in the hearts of a lot of the people that I've come to know through this work. And, that was eye-opening for me. I think I needed that, but also to the alignment of one's purpose, passion, and profession. And when you line those three things up, sky's the limit. And it's just so exciting to see. And so that's where that is one of the, it's not on my job description, but seeing the advancement of my colleagues who have goals, who are blind, who do the work, who step forward in leadership, and reach and strive, and then when like Sophia on our team started, 2016, started losing her sight. 2017, couldn't see, locking herself in her bedroom door until her 4 kids got home from school. Her going to Lighthouse Central Florida. And then, there's 3 things that really happened in that journey, and you'll recognize them. One, there's a stabilization of crisis.
Yeah.
And then there's a restoration of hope. Like, maybe my life isn't over. And then there's empowerment. And so Sophia, goes from locking her bedroom door, scared of the sounds, right, when her kid, not coming out of her room until her kids came home, to going to Lighthouse, to getting the skills she needed, and really the recognition that she is incredibly capable with process technology and training. Sky's the limit, right? So she discovered that. And then empowerment. So she got a job working at the front desk at Lighthouse Works, then parlayed that into call center agent, then became a lead in our call center. Sophie is totally blind. All 4 of her kids, by the way, now work in our call center.
Awesome.
They're a great family. But early on, when I took over about 3 years ago, I did ask her, like every other employee, what are you aiming at? What are you trying to achieve? And she said, I really think I would like a career in human resources. And I'm so excited to say that last quarter, she applied for, interviewed, and earned a position on that team as HR coordinator. And she's actually our rock star recruiter. She does a great job recruiting people. I think she started a class 2 weeks ago of 32 new employees. So she's killing it. But I took the long way to say, that's what's really fun, to know that she had that aspiration. And you can't make people do things. Like, we supplied her with access to to things she can explore, learn, and study relative to HR. But then it's up to her, and she did it. She went in there and she learned, and she's very coachable. Yeah, what a story, man.
I
So
love it, man.
I'm talking to Mike there.
Yeah, no, dude,
Man.
that is awesome. That's exactly, it's those type of stories, right? And I love I love your use of frameworks, right? So crisis management, hope, restoration of hope, and then empowerment.
Yeah.
And then people, process, technology, right? That's like, I use that. I actually heard you when we first talked, and I use that all the time. That's how I frame my updates in meetings, is people, process, technology. So I do love
cool.
that. Yeah. So it's like you're right. I mean, once you get those three kind of alignment, you're the sky's the limit on those.
It unlocks a lot.
It does.
And on the industry side for us, this has a lot of national industries for the blind agencies, and I'd say there are between 60 and 70 real producing industries, about $750 million total of work happening through that's through the Ability One program. So that's small, the minority of that are actually the blind industries, but big businesses, like LC, you guys are massive. But a lot of the organizations started with industries and then added on vision rehabilitation or a funding stream to support that in their communities. We really did it in reverse. We were around 36 years before we ever launched, Lighthouse Works. And so we spent a lot of time knocking around and trying to figure out who we were going to be and how we could do it. And one of the things that we just launched as of June 1st, our new Lighthouse Works website. I encourage your folks to check it out. I mean,
What's the website address?
It's lighthouseworks.org.
Nice.
Lighthouseworks.org. And really what we discovered was the mission is the heart and soul of why we're doing all of this. It's jobs and funding to support expanded services in our community for people who are blind or visually impaired. And we were very mission forward in how we expressed our company online, our brand. And we worked with a very talented group of consultants, CMO from Disney and a lot of others, to say, okay, how can we really turn this and demonstrate our value proposition and really understand who our total addressable market is and really get down to brass tacks with that. And it's reflected in this website, because what you see forward in our new website is value, performance, and quality. Another three things, but value, performance, and quality, because we can't have a conversation about what the impact is on this unique workforce. Yeah. Or even the value, the benefits our customers access by employing this unique workforce. We can't get there unless first we establish that this is about value, performance, and quality, period. And then the mission side in that environment has to be, and oh, by the way, now that we're legit, now that we're a credible, smart business decision, check this out, right? Do you have DE&I goals in your company? Are you interested in corporate social responsibility? Do you want to make a positive impact in your community and demonstrate, be a leader in that space? That's the kicker, but it can't be where we start. And with Abler, with LC, with us, it's got to start with value, performance, and quality.
No, I love that. We interviewed Lindsay Regg from 321 Coffee, which is a coffee shop here in the Raleigh area, where they primarily employ people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. But she also talks about it like, we make high quality coffee products, and they happen to be, made and served by people with disabilities, right? Yeah. And I think, you lead with that quality, the product, right? That value you're bringing to the customer, that quality, right? That's what you're driving. You're running it like a business. And I think that's why, there's a lot of NID agencies, and, again, I don't know them all, but I know the growth that you've had over the last, few years, since you've been CEO, what now, 2-3 years now?
3 years. Yeah.
3 years, right? And what's the growth?
We had like 83 employees at that time.
Yeah.
And then a year in, we hit a global pandemic, which was great timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're beyond 400 now and growing.
Amazing. That's
Yeah, we'll be
amazing.
beyond 500, I think, in the next 120 days.
See, that's amazing. And then you got Sophia doing the recruitment. So, I
Yeah,
think you're going to hit that 500 goal, right?
we are, man. We're thinking with that in the pipeline that we're looking at. We look to unlock a lot of jobs. I mean, the expansion we're in now for the next 120 days, this is what's the coolest. It's going to create potentially over 100 plus blind jobs, and then it'll generate in excess of $5 million paid in wages to people who are blind over the first 3 years alone. And that's a metric I love to see, right? We want to see, okay, there are no blind jobs here. We just have jobs, and we don't need any token this or that. We're working to deliver value, performance, and quality. You can't do we're not doing our employees a favor. Our customers like Disney are not doing us a favor. You know what I mean? It's because we've got that dual mission at Lighthouse Works, but I'll say beyond that, there's sort of a third unspoken one, and that's to use our company as a platform to demonstrate to the broader community around us that not only are folks capable of doing great work, regardless of how well or not they can see, not only that, but there are competitive advantages to unlocking and unleashing this unique workforce. I mean, culture alone. If you manage the culture right, you've got a lot of passion, a lot of alignment, and people working far beyond the paycheck.
And one of the things I've always appreciated with y'all was from when you think about performance. If I'm not mistaken, y'all used to have just sighted individuals go through and they set the KPIs, right? And it was like you had the people who were blind who were using assistive technology. They were keeping those KPIs, right? They learned how to do it in a way so that their performance was at a high, at the same level as everyone else, or even better, right?
Or exceeding. Yeah. And a
exactly.
lot of times, based on that dynamic that you've described, a lot of times on the front end, we're going to be a little slower to reach that. But on the back end, our agents don't attrit. We have a lot of sighted agents too. The vast majority are visually impaired or blind, but we have a lot. There's a point about that I want to share too. That you'll appreciate, I think, just like I do. But we've got to benchmark on a high performer with no accommodation requirements, and then say, okay, how do we apply process, technology, and training to get there? And the one thing I wanted to mention about my sighted colleagues in the call center is what's really cool is 95%, if not 100%, of those agents who are sighted report to someone who's blind, and they report to someone who's blind. Their boss reports to their boss who's blind. And that's a magnificent outcome of growth. It's not just new jobs created. Every time we introduce 50, 100, 150 new call center agents into the system, you have to add leads. You have to have supervisors. We'll have the manager, director. So there's a trajectory to grow on for folks, and they're doing it. And it's a thrill. But that technology, that was the barrier for us like everybody else. There was a time, call it 6-7 years ago when, or maybe even 5 years ago, when we would have to talk about accessibility in the sales cycle. We'd have to say, okay, what system are you using? We'll take a look at that, right? And if we did an evaluation and then the soft phone transfer button is not accessible, we had to say no to the business. We had to say no to that job creation opportunity. So we built, you met Mike and Ramsey. We built a team, and our software developer is legally blind, and just happens to be the sweetest human being that's ever walked the face of the earth. And we built that team to come up with the solutions. And today, they did things 4 years ago, like make a color-coded scheduling medical software that's over 12 doctor offices, more than 100 doctors across Central Florida, and English and Spanish, medical and dental. And you have to find the color, magenta means first time appointment and cobalt means whatever. And you have to like talk to the patient, scheduling their appointment, and visibly scroll and look for that color in the right time slot, in the right frame of time to schedule them. So we had low vision and sighted agents on that while we went on the back end. And what you didn't hear there was us tell the customer at this stage, we have to check that out first.
Yeah.
They say, this is what we use. I think it was eClinical Works. And we say, great, we're not introducing any of that. We've never been stumped. So like we say, yes, of course, we won't have any issues with your system. So our team writes middleware that sits in between us and our customer's platform, be it Salesforce or eClinical Works or whatever it is. And we will go in there and do our accessibility evaluation of that system. Obviously, write code in that middleware, write code that makes all the inaccessible areas accessible. But then while you're already in there, and you know this with a call center environment, there's a lot of repetitive behavior. So we will automate that repetitive behavior to make us faster. And so with eClinical Works, if you, John, I'm sighted and I get a call, you're blind, you get a call, and they say, hey, I want an appointment in June, the second half of June on the west side of town before lunchtime. It's a first time appointment. There's a lot I got to process there. I'm scrolling looking for magenta on a Wednesday morning or whatever, trying to search for that. And I got to remember, Dr. Smith doesn't do that in City B, but he does it in City A on Wednesdays. You're blind, you do a hotkey, a search engine. We wrote a search engine, a pixel correlation algorithm, and a rules engine. So you're next to me, John. You just search engine, put in the information, hit go. Your screen flies by all the colors, bing, and it lands here, and it's skipped. It skipped Office A on Wednesday morning because it remembered the rules engine knew that Dr. Smith does not take those types of appointments in those days in that office. So it really just unlocks a lot, or it takes 4 clicks to verify a caller's identity. Well, we automate that with software on our end. And for us, it's just a cost of doing business. We don't, burden our customer with that. But I think an important part of that, in certainly in the service side of industries, that's a key thing, that accessibility doesn't have to be a part of the conversation with the customer. It can be, it oftentimes is. But when we're talking about doing their call center work specifically, I hope all our customers are thinking about accessibility. But in the sales cycle, it's not a necessary hurdle. We have to make it the easy button, and we have to show up and perform in a way that's going to keep that customer happy and proud to work with us. And we have not lost a customer in the call center in 7 years. So, I mean, they're doing it. The team is showing up, and the team is committed to performance and quality, and so that's got to be there. But on the assistive technology side, I think that we have a lot of opportunity. I fear that there are a lot of companies out there having to say no to new business or employees who have the talent to advance in their role, but maybe the accounting software that they would have to use is not accessible. And that's not acceptable. And we should do everything we can to unlock those opportunities for everyone.
I love it, man. I love it. I think it is a testament to your leadership, the culture you've built there. I know I've loved the culture you've built, and that's why I'm so lucky to have just chats with you every month to kind of learn from you, and you just even being a listening board to me. I'm so thankful for that, and I just love what you're doing.
I am too, John. It's a two-way street there.
No, I appreciate that, and I could literally sit here and talk so much more from your speaking engagements and the ways that you're advocating and raising awareness. But I think it is a mic drop when you talk about what you've done within that call center and the amount of growth and the amount of jobs and the amount of money you've put in pockets of people who are blind who would not have had that opportunity before. And, I'm just so thankful. And you made such a big impact.
Well, thanks for saying that, John. And it's all mutual for sure. I'm quite happy to ride your coattails, homie. But we can't do it anymore because of the number of employees. But we recently had, I think last month or the month prior, our last in-person anniversary lunch with employees, and it happened to be two of our original 6 call center agents that were there when I came in 2013. And one of them, Fred, he was just a NIB Employee of the Year. He was just with us in DC, but he was sitting there eating, and he said, big fella, mustache, sunglasses all the time, and totally blind. And he said, he paraphrasing, but he said, this job really gave me the opportunity to live a quote unquote normal life. He said, I've gotten married, bought a house, I take vacations every year, and that's what's up. That's why we're doing this. Exactly. He's living testimony to why we are committed to, accessibility, DE&I, excellence, showing up and really disrupting the general consumer population with what's possible and how cool it is. How reliable people are if you just give them an opportunity and you invest in their success. And you had mentioned the culture I built. It's the culture we built for sure, and I know you meant that.
Oh yeah.
But I have a tick. I can't let that ride. Kyle is not creating what's happening here for sure. It is we, not me, and it's just such a thrill, and I have great people on the leadership team in this organization, just like you do at yours. And that to me, it's like more of like, I hopefully they don't discover today that I don't really know what I'm doing.
Oh man,
let's go act like we know what we're doing today. But I think that's part of what makes it fun.
No, for sure. But that is what's up, man. Like that is, and I love it. It is the giving that person a life that they never thought possible. And that's you don't need coffee to get up to do that. And that is
no.
Right?
I still drink coffee, but well, and it's more about like providing the opportunity to pursue the life one desires. And,
exactly.
But again, like we're not walking for them, we're not grinding for them. There's only one way. We've had a lot of conversations around this with our employees over the years, where it's like, hey, so and so had a finance degree from college, and they're in our call center. Why aren't they getting an opportunity to be the VP of Finance at Lighthouse? And my response is always that we want equity, right? And they say, yeah. So we want equity, equal access to opportunity, equal treatment, equal benefits. We want equity. If we want equity, we've got to have equity. And what that means is that the bar is here. The standard is there. Now, will we invest way more time, money, resources, passion, and energy in helping someone who's blind hit that standard? 100% we will. 7 out of 10 of their peers don't have jobs, and they do. We're going to help them get there as best we can. But the bar is here. Yep. And so what I explained is between getting a finance degree and being the VP of Finance at Lighthouse Works is a whole lot of time on the stone of development. Mm-hmm. It's being hammered into shape over time with professional development and experience. And you don't just go from the degree to the top, whether you're sighted or blind. So I think our big opportunity at Lighthouse Works for sure, or at Lighthouse for sure here in Central Florida, but I suspect we're not alone. where we fell short organizationally over decades is, now, mind you, I've only been around 8 years, almost 9 years. Maybe they did this before I was around. I want to put that out there, but we need to create a scaffolding, a track for people to get on. That person in the call center with a degree in finance who has aspirations to lead others and perhaps be a VP. We need to create a leadership academy, a leadership track for all employees, regardless of ability, to help them get from there to their goal. And we've not proactively done that, right? I mean, anybody on my team says, hey, can you talk to me about how to take your job one day? I'm going to be elated and we'll have coffee and we will talk. Or, hey, will you mentor me? Absolutely. Guess what? No one is saying that to me. And that was my wake up call. You know, we can't wait for people to say it. They have to see the path. Let's give them a path to get on. And maybe that'll spark that ambition in them to then go, hey, Kyle, how do I take your job?
Yeah.
You know, but I think we do need to put some groundwork in to create that track for them to run on. And so that's what we will be doing. Right now, with all the crazy growth, we're trying to keep up with recruiting at the moment, and our HR team's doing a great job. But once we get our legs under us, with the, you know, fully staffed HR team and all that, then these are some of the things, the leadership academy and other aspects that we're going to add in, because I want that call center agent with a finance degree to achieve whatever I don't care what it is. Yeah, even if it takes us out of here, takes them out of this company. I don't want to lose a good employee, but it's not about me. It's about them. Yep. So, sorry to ramble.
No, dude, that's it. I mean, that's the mission. So, but how's the best way for people to get in touch with y'all and learn more about what y'all are doing? On
the industry side, lighthouseworks.org again. Those who are interested in the Lighthouse Central Florida side, the vision rehabilitation and all the programs, that's lighthousecfl.org, lighthousecfl.org. And luckily, if you find one of those sites, you can get to the other one. Nice. So you can click a hyperlink and it'll bring you to the other company. We're on every social media channel known to God. Sure. Got some great videos on our YouTube channel. Now, like Lighthouse Central Florida, heavier in Facebook and in Instagram and whatnot. And on the other end of that, Lighthouse Works is probably going to be a little heavier on the LinkedIn side. But we're visible throughout the social space, so to speak.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Kyle, for taking the time just to chat, and and thank you for everything you're doing. And for those watching, let us reach out to Kyle and the team, and we will see you soon and in a couple of weeks. So thank you all, and thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Annie, for everything you do.
Thank you, John. I admire you.
Oh, thanks, Ed.
Keep it up.
Oh, thank you.